you're seen as someone who's superhuman. You're able to do incredible things on stage, off stage. You have a phenomenal physical, mental, psychological presence. You have a beautiful spiritual presence. But at the same time, you talk about in this book being 31 years old and finding out about this brain tumor.
Yes.
I want to hear about what that feels like when you think you're doing everything right for your health.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been a point of concern. And all of a sudden, you get this news. How does that feel?
Well, it was scary, obviously. Actually, it started a little sooner than that. When I was really young, I grew up really rapidly. I've worked 20-hour days, and I was also blessed. And I got to work with some very important people, and I got great results, and they told other people. So by the time I was 19, just almost 20, I had become quite successful in external terms, at least, in the world. And let me deal with it if it needs to be dealt with in the morning. And the doc says to me, you have a tumor in your brain. I was like, what are you talking about? I came to you, I'm totally healthy. I'm healthy as a horse. And he said, no. He said, you have an enormous amount of growth hormones. So I did some tests. I said, how'd you notice the growth hormone? My hands are bigger than your head. I wear a size 16 shoe. I was 5'1", now I'm 6'7". I grew 10 inches in a year. And he goes, no, don't be funny. He goes, you're gonna need to hear me. This is serious. And he said, you really need to do this. And well, do what? You got to come in for surgery. I was like, wait a second. I said, you're telling me you're going to cut me open? I said, what's the prognosis? He said, well, obviously you can die. Anytime you do surgery that's this complex. But he said, it's your pituitary gland. And he said, you're probably not going to have the same kind of energy anymore because it'll change your biochemistry. But then, the mind starts going like, what if he's right? What if it's this? So I went and did the scan, and I saw the look on the guy's face when I came out from the MRI. And sure enough, I had a tumor there. It was interesting though, Jay, it was a big tumor. That's why I grew 10 inches in a year. But it infarcted, which means it swallowed a portion of itself up. It's still there. And he said, we still need to do the surgery. So I said, okay, he's a surgeon. Let me go to somebody who's more biochemically driven. So I went to this man in Boston, a neurobiologist, and he was really completely different. He was super warm. And he said, look, he goes, I would never do the surgery. It's way too risky. There's a place in Switzerland you can go to, and you can take an injection once every 6 months, and you'll never have to worry about it, because it can be very negative depending upon how it's used, how it's directed. And then there's the need for connection and love, which everybody has. And those four needs, everybody finds a way to meet. Even if you have to lie to yourself, work 20-hour days, you're going to find certainty somehow. You're going to find variety. You're going to find some form of significance. Some people do it by tearing other people down. Some people do it by working harder. It's different. You're going to find some level of at least connection, if not love. But the final two are what make people feel alive, which is growing. Everything in the universe grows or dies, and contributing. Everything in the universe contributes, or it's eventually eliminated by evolution. So those are the spiritual needs, growth and contribution, where you get beyond yourself. And I think that the majority of us don't take moves because of fear, and fear is just uncertainty. Mm-hmm. It's that base need. And when I go around and I describe this in more detail, and I work with a big audience, 15, 20,000 people, and I'll say, have them do a set of exercises and have them figure out, where do they get, what triggers them to be certain or uncertain? What triggers them to have variety and so forth? So comfort, because you take a breath of cigarette, you take a nice, slow, deep breath in and take it out. It's variety. If they're all stressed out and then they start to breathe differently, it's variety in the body. Some people see it as a connection with themselves. Mm-hmm. But if all of a sudden you're now in a relationship with somebody who doesn't smoke, and you really love them and you want their total love and attention, and they're completely disgusted by cigarettes, now my needs for love, yes, right, are really strong, and my need for this comfort is really strong, and so you have this push-pull. And then some people make the shift, some people don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what you said to me really rung a bell for me, and we spoke a bit about it earlier. Like, I came to a point in my life, there was one point earlier when I left the monastery where I really struggled with my health, which I've spoken about before. But even more recently, and it's interesting, you were 31, I'm 34 now, and that's why I'm so excited about this book for the world to read.
Yeah.
Because you're giving us opportunities and access to thought and ideas and practices and medicine that can help us up our game of our health.
Yeah, massively.
Because often what we do is we choose to slow down. We choose to just go, okay, well, I'm just going to do less.
Yeah.
And you and I think we both connect on the fact that actually giving and service and contribution and making an impact on such big needs that I was just like, I don't want to stop though. Like, just as you said with the energy point, I don't want to not be able to do as much and give more.
Yeah.
So how do I change my health? And that simple decision, it's what led me to be attracted to what you're doing in this book and the work in this area. Talk to us a bit about that energy piece. In the book, you talk a lot about boosting your energy through natural compounds.
Yes.
And when I was reading about this, I was fascinated because we're not hearing about this everywhere.
So your audience doesn't have to remember all these names, but just stay with me. Just think there's 7 master genes that do 3 or 4 things that are critical. First, they turn on and off the different genes in your body. That's the epigenome. And if you turn on the wrong ones, you age too soon or your energy drops. So when this is fully fueled, when those sirtuins are doing their job, everything happens in the right way.
How does behavior change go hand in hand with that?
I found that when people have more energy, I don't know what your experience is, that their behaviors change.
Yes.
When you're low energy, kind of lethargic, even the way you think. I mean, look at what COVID's done by just having people coped up and not moving very much, right? I've had a chance to use this product. There's products available right now, and I've been using those, and they're very powerful. But this one is even more visceral. I mean, you feel like you're ready to buzz around.
I cannot wait.
It's like, it blows my mind what it does, right? Use them, every now and then. But there's so much research on it now, and I have it in the book that'll blow your mind. Like 4 days a week in the sauna for just 20 minutes at 160 degrees plus, whether it's a laser type sauna, red sauna going in, or a traditional one, will absolutely change your health in more ways than you can imagine. Like people that don't really work out, I can get them to do this now, and they can just go sit in the sauna. But what happens, it reduces your chance of a heart attack by over 51%.
I read that, yeah. Wow.
It reduces your chance of a stroke by 62%. And literally you're done in that time. And you see the transformation. First time I did this, I remember I worked with this woman, she was about 63 years old, and I went to Gold's Gym with her because he didn't have these machines then. There was a way of doing it with weights. It was a little bit spooky if you screwed up because the weight was so heavy. And there was this guy who was like, I don't know, 25, 26 years old, ponytail, sweating like crazy doing the leg press. And we had a camera crew there, and she says, sir, he took a break and he's sweating.